Gearhead Rob again on why not to buy the 11 to 14 Coyote kit used. Yes, everybody's looking for a used kit, but I'm going to tell you, in the end of it all, it's not fucking worth it. You're going to be buying someone else's headaches. You're not going to get a warranty on the turbos. So, you don't know. And this is going to be a perfect example. I hate to use Jonathan's car, but I've already talked to him, discussed it. He knows this is coming. Anyway, yes, this X-pipe works great because, look, it's got slip bands on both sides. You can slide the pipe in, pull the steering shaft away like I do in the ride-up. You see this one was a lowered car. The turbos, good-looking turbos, are 60s. They have no shaft play. But what bugs me is there's oil in this header. And that's obviously clearly coming from the motor that went into the exhaust. But there's no oil in the charge pipes. Luckily, this one has all the clamps with it. This one had oil feed hoses only. So it didn't have the fittings or the T's or anything that were needed for the kit. I haven't seen anybody with a used kit yet that got brake hoses. There was a couple of used kits that were sold where they've purchased the brake hose kits from me. Because On3 will not sell the used, they won't sell the brake hose kit separately anymore. I've outsourced that stuff to help you guys get the stuff. I'm lucky enough to be local to On3. Yes, I build my oil drain kit. As you see here, we're going to upgrade that. But I had to get intercooler brackets, the PCM bracket, the hardware kit, and the oil drain and feed kit. Of course, that has the brake hoses in it as well. So some of these pieces I will not be using on this car, so I'll have them available to sell. The restrictor plates, of course, etc., so forth and so on. Now, the problem I have with this kit is, one, it's used. So it's no big deal. I sold Jonathan a lot of parts. The injectors, the proper header bolts for the 13-14 car. And I even did this, because I pulled this stuff myself at On3. They're attempting to package correct bolts, but as you see here, these are the header bolts here from the 11 to 14 car in the kit. And then they stick 3 of these in there. I don't know why. I wouldn't do the 12 points because it's going to be impossible to get a 12 point on top of these on an upgraded header. The upgraded header has a lot less room in here for the bolts. It's kind of hard to get a wrench on top of them because the upgrade header is a little bit bigger. I could be wrong, but this install is going to go a little bit differently. Granted, it's a used kit, but I know I can get it to go on a car and work right. You can see here, one side has the extended O2 from an F-150 truck. These are about 130 to 150 bucks. I'm going to be loading them to the store. The stick shift cars, I've been able to get away without using that. Automatic cars almost have to, because you got to pull the harness over to one side and the O2 is mounted down a little bit farther on the one car. Of course, this one's got all the charge pipes. None of them were damaged. This one had all the clamps. The wastegates came with the firing rings and some of the clamps. It had a vacuum block kit, and of course all the oil drain hoses are hard and stiff from all the heat. It's got some vacuum block here, but Jonathan bought a vacuum block kit from me. So, this is the downside to buying a used kit, because by the time you purchase all these things, if I can sell you every little thing that you need, you could be at or just below what the kit's going to cost you new with a warranty. Now, what makes sense to you? Buy somebody else's headache? Because I see these kits going for $3 grand used. That's retarded. I'm sorry. I sell used parts all the time. Even if it's brand new, never ran, it's still only 80% of new value. So how people are running them, beating the snot out of them, and then selling them for 80% of new value is beyond me. I usually sell new parts, used parts like that, anywhere from 50 to 75%, depending on what it is. Now, you can see this is the later intercooler with the casted elbows. There's a bag of miscellaneous hardware over there. I don't know what that is, but literally, you know, there's wrap, there's turbo blankets, injectors, the header bolts, the turbo kit itself in its mess that it is. We're going to be doing Jonathan's kit here. I am going to perfect the On3 charge pipe correction for the Boss intake manifold. The Boss intake manifold, we've gotten away with cutting I've got pictures of this. They're going on the forum. Don't worry, I'm going to cover this after I install it. But we cut this part back. On Justin's car, we cut it back too far. I'm going to cut it back to here and re-bead roll it. And it fits the car just fine and it works great. Of course, I'm going to install the screen. I'm going to be checking the blow-off valve spring on this kit. We're going to see if it's got the light spring or the stiff spring in it. And that's another thing I'm going to touch on, is the blow-off valve should not be open. You want it just to barely be open, if not at all. Why? Because you got to tune it with a spring. Tile, when you order one, you've got to buy it with a certain spring. What's your idle vacuum? What is the idle vacuum? Does this car even have a boost gauge in it? Because that's going to be an interesting thing. If not, I can put a vacuum gauge on it. Nope, I don't see any boost gauge, no boost control. We're just going to be running this car on gate. Chris Holmes is going to be tuning this one remotely for us. And that's pretty much it. This is my rant on why not to buy a used kit. I get this all the time with the 5-liter guys, the 2-valve guys. I had a 2-valve car in here about 2 years ago. I did. By the time we got done buying everything, granted, he bought the kit used with no turbo. He did get a MAF, this, that, and the other. But by the time I bought everything to replace it and fix it and kept running back and forth, he could have legitimately bought a brand new kit for the same money that he put into getting the used kit corrected. So that's something to keep in mind, guys, when you're doing the On3. I'm going to be doing a lot more videos this year because some of you can't quite, I guess, a lot of people have a problem going to the forum and reading. Gearheadbuilt.com. Click on the forum button. Go to the tech section. I have these installs laid out for everyone. I sell everything that you need to make a kit complete. It doesn't matter what kit it is, what Ford kit it is. Sorry guys, the F-150 twin kit will be coming later this year. Production is behind. Hopefully the release for those will be May. So therefore, I got a couple of Coyote cars lined up for install. I got a couple of Fox bodies. I've got a built motor Fox body that's coming through. We're going to strap a big On3 turbo. We're going to see how far we can push the 67. We're going to see how far, in a single form, we're going to see how far we can push the 67. We're going to see how far we can push the 84. But I'm going to take that 5-liter kit and add a 3.5-inch downpipe. Now, everybody praised me on the last video. I showed some of the Fox twin kit, intercooler brackets, other little stupid things that I sell and make for these kits. This car will serve perfect for me making the ABS drop-down bracket. As you can see, the lines sit very high on these. And they smash into the air filters. As you can see right here in this one, they smash into the air filters. The ABS drop-down bracket corrects that. The K&N filters work great. Bending the lines a little bit helps some, but the ABS drop-down bracket brings it down further. Of course, you've got the 2 braided hoses that come in here. So once you maneuver the brake ABS unit out of the way, it's a lot easier to fit this driver's side air filter. Now, I've kind of started on Jonathan's car here. We've got the bottom plastic, the upper plastic, and some of the hardware off, but literally now I'm getting into engine bay prep because I've been waiting for OEM gaskets to come. I don't know what's behind his headers. Of course, long tube headers are coming off the car. Some shops may charge extra money. I'm going to as well because the long tube headers are a little bit harder to remove than the stock manifolds are. I charge a little bit of extra for the upgrade manifolds as well on install because I know it's a little bit more difficult to do them. I'm going to be making several videos. When we get down to getting the headers in, after I get done prepping the engine bay, I'm going to go over everything before I put the manifolds in. So make sure you keep an eye on this channel. We're going to be doing a lot more On3 coverage, a lot more tech. I'm going to be taking a lot more pictures during this install and getting the Coyote kit nailed down. Of course, this is a 1314 car. We don't have the fog light issue, but there's going to be an intercooler bracket issue. And a couple of guys have fixed that their way. I'm going to get into the write-up and say, hey, look, this is how you can do it. Some cars the front ends on these cars are all different. We're not going to have a problem where we're going to have to trim the bumper out a whole lot for the intercooler clearance, I don't think, on these. I may want to open that up down here a bit to let the intercooler get some more air, though. But we'll be getting into all this stuff. Make sure you keep an eye on the channel. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you go to the forum. And I don't get paid to do all this tech, so make sure you're ordering your kit and your parts and your products for me. Thanks, guys.